Did you see Baby Yoda on Facebook? It was a real knee slapper.
He turned himself into a pickle.
He said, "Pickle Yoda, I am."
Morty, turn me around, Morty. Morty, down
I
here.
hate so much I came back.
Morty, I turned myself into a Morty.
Welcome to the.
Stole my spotlight. I say that.
Welcome to the Mouth Breather Cast.
What do you mean? We don't? Are you implying that we're breathing through our mouths when we're actually breathing through our lizard pores and our skin?
That's just Kyle.
Don't expose me. I'll have to go back to the mothership and report to Obama.
Okay, Hillary Clinton.
Obungus.
Obungus.
Barack Hussein Abunga.
Okay, well, today, welcome to the MD Cast.
Flaming Wreckage Podcast.
Yeah, today we are joined by our usual hosts, myself, Eric, Kyle, Tyler, and today we have Q again, our blessed boy.
Blessed boy.
Masala brothers. May Allah bring you peace.
Konnichiwa.
Allahu Akbar! And then it just ends there. It just ends there. The podcast just ends.
Cut the feed!
Podcast over.
Today we are at our usual
Today we're
location.
in the crater.
We're in Crater.
No. Today we're at our usual place in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Yes. We're hanging out in the trees.
We have our homeboy Osama here, who is actually not
dead.
He's actually just been, chilling.
He's been hiding out with us. We're hoping to get him on the podcast.
Yeah. Too bad he only speaks Arabic.
Yeah, shame.
And bullet.
He only
bullet
speaks
calibers
squigglies.
and
Bullet caliber.
he only speaks in bullet calibers and
He only speaks Toyota stolen truck.
He once learned how to speak plain.
Jesus.
Yeah, that one kind of crashed and burned, didn't it?
I mean, whoa, wait. You're Hillary Clinton and George Bush, no? They never. I thought that was 3D. I thought that was a 3D movie or something. That wasn't real, was it? It's still standing there, right? Or was it?
Hillary, we have somebody to silence.
Anyone remember the fucking 9/11 joke in Lilo and Stitch?
What?
No.
Was there one?
You guys don't remember
It's
that?
been so long since I've seen Lilo and Stitch.
In the original movie, or some kind of director's cut, one of the scenes is they have like a giant spaceship going through a city, and they just missed 2 towers. As you fucking squeeze between the both.
That came out not too long after. I think that they were like starting to produce it when 9/11 happened.
Yeah. So they had to.
Actually, that last scene when it was the spaceship, that was supposed to be an airplane.
Yeah, that's
and they cut that.
That's kind of funny because it's like the meme where it's like Simpsons are predicting everything, even the fucking coronavirus right now.
Yeah.
So it's like Lilo and Stitch predicted 9/11.
Oh no!
So
Lilo and Stitch caused 9/11.
Four arms, 2 towers, 1 spaceship.
It all makes sense.
18 naked cowboys at Ram Ranch.
28 U.S. Marines driving up in black Ford Raptor trucks. Ram Ranch is
Coming
under
to fuck
siege.
Prince Harry.
Ram Ranch is under lockdown and under siege.
Actually, that reminds me. Did you guys see on the news that there was a lady that got plastic surgery to make herself look like Meghan Markle?
No.
Ew.
Who's Meghan Markle?
Prince whatever's wife.
Harry?
Oh.
Yep, Prince Harry.
Gonna fuck Prince Harry. Meghan Markle lookalike. Gonna fuck Prince Harry, but Prince Harry is hella gay. So it's Prince Harry fan tried plastic surgery and fucking attack. Not
Pulling up
effective.
his
Like
black
you're gonna
Ford.
need an Advil condom.
No way. Let me see this.
That's not an Advil. That's just regular Advil, Kyle.
I was about to say,
But you all believed it.
Whoa, these Tic Tacs don't fit me. What the hell?
Why do I have to put it in?
Why do I have to put in 2 of them? Don't I have to just block the shaft?
Oh man, I want a cherry, not fucking peppermint.
Wait, so if
They don't flavor Advil, Kyle.
I was talking
What if-
Tic Tac.
All right. Real talk. If you shove one down there and you're nutting as hard as possible, do you think it'll shoot out at like 3,000 psi like a hydraulic?
Bro, can
pressure?
you just bean someone in the forehead with a fucking dick Tic Tac? A dick
So
tac?
like, let's just say theoretically, you're nutting on a girl's forehead, and then you just shoot it out, and you actually headshot him, and it actually made a wound, like a 9mm bullet went through her fucking forehead.
I think you'd just be a fucking weapon at that point.
New assassin appears, the Dick Tag guy.
U.S. Marines, get in on this. We need it for Ram Ranch.
Now that's what I call dick tactics.
But anyway, she.
Tactics.
I don't know why they aired this, but like she made herself. She did her best to make herself look like Meghan Markle, and she modeled her whole fucking wardrobe off of her as well. And it's not like she's single and she's trying to pick somebody up. She has a husband and a kid. And she reeled out a big cardboard cutout of Meghan Markle, like actual Meghan Markle, and like she put it in front of her 2-year-old, and then the 2-year-old was like, "Mommy, it's Mommy," and she was pointing at the cardboard, and she's like, "No, that's actually Meghan Markle. I'm Mommy." And then she went on the news and was like, "Yeah, she pointed at the cardboard and said that it was me. I look like Meghan Markle, right?"
Wow.
Wow.
I removed my identity.
That just reminds me of a fucked up story I heard a couple days ago. This one lady that's obsessed with plastic surgery got with a guy who was obsessed with like cat girls. So
No.
She spent
No.
Niet.
spent her fucking life getting plastic surgery to look like a fucking cat,
And thus the Cats movie was made.
and they broke up.
What a catastrophe!
You fool!
Oh, no. All you had to do was wear a cat tail and cat ears. You simpleton
All I
troglodyte.
wanted was the cat lingerie!
All I wanted for you to say was "Nya" and "Master." You utter troglodyte. What have you done?
You fool, the unmitigated gall! You imbecile! How could I ever fall in love with an actual cat?
I am not sick!
Rigby would like to speak with you.
Oh fuck! Nah, he only fucks dogs.
Oh yeah, that goes back. I showed Q one of my favorite videos on the internet of a guy's Discord, and his name's Rigby, with the Mordecai and Rigby character on his fucking profile picture, and it's just him saying, "You guys are the most cringe. I will never like be as cringe as you guys." And then he starts posting My Little Pony pictures and like talking about how thick and juicy a fucking dog penis is.
Well, it's especially funny because he specifically says like, "Man, we should just round up furries and get rid of them. They're fucking disgusting."
Yeah, and all the
We're
while
not justifying furs here, though.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely not.
No. We're not. No, but we definitely think it is very hypocritical and hilarious of how he justifies himself when he's fucking a dog.
Yeah, no, he actually fucks his dog too. And all the while, my favorite part of the video is it's just compiling all of his Discord
messages.
Yeah, and it's playing the Tokyo Ghoul opening. And when it gets most crazy, it's like the worst ones, and it's playing them super fast.
Because it's like this fast and kind of like emotional song with how the vocals work, and it's just this guy like, "Juicy red rockets."
Oh my
Okay, Kyle,
God.
start listing off quotes, and I'll do the song.
I don't know enough of the fucking quotes. I can probably make some up.
Yes.
I fuck my dog. Like
Like
red rocket, juicy dog balls. My Little Pony. I love Luna's ass.
Now you're just describing Eric.
Shut the fuck up.
I thought you were gonna throw that at him.
Honestly, I thought the same. I thought my life came to an end.
Actually, okay. So, Kyle, Tyler, we have a friend an acquaintance from high school.
Oh no.
That I kind of contact sometimes. And he's gotten into a cult.
Yeah.
So let's talk about cults.
Ooh, that sounds fun. What do we got?
A guy we know, without saying his name or describing too much of him, he was the guy from Drum who always wore headphones.
He's in a cult?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What cult is it?
Mormonism.
The worst one.
No, I lived with those
He could have
fuckers
been
for 5
normal and
years.
just gone with Al Qaeda, but no.
I lived with those terrorists for 5 years.
Well,
Fucking-
what
it's
is
like-
this? What is
it was-
Mormon? Give a description for the people.
They come to your door and they won't let you fucking close the door because they're like, take Jesus.
So I
Jehovah's
lived with
Witness.
those fuckers for 5 years down in Utah because I believe 80% of the Utah population of like 3.5 million people are Mormons.
Fucking Utahwanese.
Registered Mormons, anyways, and they're pretty much like like if you take like Muslim, like Islamic extremism, take Christianity extremism without all the killings, you get Mormonism, and they are very much known for what do you call it when you marry like more than 2 wives?
Polygamy.
Polygamy. They're known for doing that illegally under the board. But
That was another thing that he listed that he was hoping for.
But like, here's the thing. Here's the funny part. It's illegal in Utah, but because the policemen are Mormons too,
They don't
They
care.
partake in that. So I mean, not gonna lie, I met a family with a bunch of wives, and they were straight up MILFs and everything. But their devotion to the church was pretty scary because who the hell goes to church for like 9 hours a day?
9 hours.
9 hours on a Sunday. Like
I can
alright,
barely
no.
even justify staying in bed 9 hours a day.
Was there a whole show around that?
I don't even know, but like
Mormon and love.
they behave like Jehovah's Witness, where they come door to door, and they have very predatory means of trying to coerce you into their religion. Like,
Oh, yeah.
saying stuff like, you see like the billboards where it's like, learn free English, like for places like around college or school where people are deficient in English, and they're like, we'll teach you free English, just come over here. And it's a Mormon church, and instead of teaching you English, they just read the Bible out to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually kind of disgusting for me because I think it's just very predatory.
I hate cults.
I'm not a fan of religion in general, but cults are even worse because a lot of the time because at least with a larger religion, there is some level of law that
They
can
need to
come into
be.
it.
They need to have a good face.
Yeah.
They
Is
need
there
to
a
be.
thing Mormons can't swear either?
Yes, they hate it when you say stuff like "Oh my God." They literally hate
God's name in vain.
Yeah, God's name in vain. The only words they really say is hell, like swear word, quote unquote, is hell, but only in a biblical context.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, but funny enough, they say the word fag because they don't like gays. Like they say fags and gays and all that shit because they really don't like those guys.
Just
'cause-
rolling around in my own coffin right now because I have to edit that out later. God damn.
They say that F word, but not the 4-letter one.
3.
Yeah, no, like actually when I was playing hockey, right, down there, as you know, sports, especially violent ones like hockey, you tend to swear at the other team.
Naturally.
And this one guy I play with, I was like the dirty kid on the team. I'd like spear everyone when I hit them.
Naturally.
And elbow them, cross-check them, whatever. Like if I see their neck, it's probably gonna not be pleasant for them to have a neck for a little bit. And whenever I swear, he's like, "Hey, stop swearing." I'm like, "Okay, like literally, like I'm swearing at these other fuckers, saying, you know, because they're swearing at me, right? Well, because I'm a dirty player, and they're calling me like, they're like, "Wait, well, what the fuck is this shit doing on the ice? Go back to the rice fields or some shit." So I dropped my gloves. I grabbed because this is U16 under 16. I grabbed their cage and I start uppercutting their throat. And I'm like, "Yeah, you want Vietnam too, bitch?" and then after that, like, okay, I get kicked out, and in the locker room, and he's like, this Mormon kid, he's like, "What the heck are you thinking, doing stuff like that? That is not that is not okay. And your swearing is you're gonna go to hell because you're swearing." I'm like,
It's very odd to think.
What the fuck?
It's very odd to think that these people that talk like that are having like 15 people long orgies with all of their wives when they get home.
And let me get to the best part about living in Utah. You get to see the hypocrisy of this religion. You get to see the hypocrisy of a lot of religions in the world. But Mormonism I find to be the most hilarious because you see these high school girls. I went to high school in Utah, and these high school girls think that they're all saints and all that shit. But
community has to Jesus.
No, literally, like you hear rumors of this girl giving head in the bathroom at this time or whatever, shit like that. And I'm thinking, you fucking hypocrites must be drowning in that holy water every Sunday, yeah? Fucking, it's disgusting. It's like, yeah, you guys are all hypocrites saying, yeah, well, sexual activities must be kept for marriage, and that's why, like, all of them marry at, like, 22 and get divorced at, like, 24. And I find that hilarious, because it's just like, oh, and then once the girl gets divorced and she has a kid with them, and, like, some 40-year-old fucking polygamist comes along and just fucking marries her because she's a 22-year-old and he can handle kids because he's a rich fucking Mormon or whatever, like, I don't get how their fucking economy works, but they all practically live in mansions. I'm not kidding.
Religions are weird like that. When we had kind of been talking about this before, while playing Splatoon, as we do fucking everything. But one thing we got on that topic was the religion of or the cult of Rajesh Puram or whatever.
I fucking hate that one.
I don't know what that is.
Oh
this
my
one,
God.
all right.
You got some like research to do later because we're gonna butcher the summary.
So essentially, it was a kind of Indian. I think it was Indian.
Yeah, it was Indian.
Sounds Indian.
It was an Indian thing under some guy who would change his name to like Rajneesh or whatever, and he would create the religion of Rajneeshpuram, and they moved up to Oregon
because they got kicked out of India because their teachings were too extreme.
Yeah. And because this involved a lot of like free sex and stuff with everyone just
or like their
being wild.
A lot of their like praying was just straight up do whatever you feel during these sessions. So there'd be a lot of people like, and I probably shouldn't say that, and like beating the shit out of each other.
Just absolute hedonism.
Like just chaos.
Battle Royale.
Honestly, it looked like that because the documentary I saw of it had some videos where it was just people like ripping each other's hair out, and like in the background there's some guy fucking doggy styling a girl.
But they move up to Oregon because they got kicked out of India and they need to relocate. First of all, they didn't want to they basically bought by farmland, and the way it worked up there, you had to actually be owning a farm to do stuff up there and to make buildings up there. So they would basically lie about a ton of shit. They would make residences for all the people, but they'd be like, "Oh no, this is farm stuff." And it was like people who got out of the cult and would talk about this stuff. They would be like, "Yeah, every building had a double meaning or a double intention to it because it was all lies and fake." And they just super quickly devolved into just scandal and lying and cheating, and it gets really bad. Because at first it's just like, we're trying to make a place for all of our people to live, or we're amassing
That was the most fucked up part about it too, though, because they appealed to people that were just coming out of college and they couldn't get into a profession as quick. So like you have like a lot of really smart people, like electricians, engineers, construction workers, like agriculture people, people that would like be good with medicine. Like there were people that were in there for nursing or like even like surgeons and whatnot. So there were a lot of really highly educated people that just didn't find their niche yet.
Yeah, and then they would bring them in to use their skills for this, to build this cult. And of course, it has the usual cult leader problems. Like the cult leader really liked Rolls Royce cars, so he's like, spend
Rolex
our money,
watches.
get me those.
He really liked Rolex watches too.
Yeah, and he lived in like fucking luxury or whatever. But they had this the second in command or whatever was some lady, and they went wild with some shit because a lot of like the cities and stuff, they were kind of like pushing against them because there's just this massive religion that's not particularly great.
Yeah.
They were trying to push against them. So what they decided to do was get someone in office, make one of theirs into a politician to basically secure their spot and get everything nice and good for them. First of all of them changed their names when they joined the cult, so they were trying to double vote under both their names.
Oh.
They got caught for that. And then they started trying to do assassinations. All of them fucked up, some out of sheer luck. Like, it's literally a guy walks into a building with a gun ready to kill someone, and the only reason it didn't happen is because the person didn't happen to be there that day.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the reasoning for the things going like wrong with the assassinations was the second in command was so fucked up on drugs that she couldn't even do orders right, and everybody under her was too. She was trying to get people that were like within her circle assassinated because they were starting to go against her.
Yeah, and it was insane. And eventually,
I heard about that fucking years back.
Yeah, eventually they tried biological warfare.
Yeah.
They tried to
Did they
make...
get like their stockpile on like Soviet anthrax and just...
They just kind of cultivated germs to try and get people sick, and like I'm not sure if it could be fatal, but
I think the worst thing was like just stomach flu.
Yeah, but
that was the worst.
I mean, if you want to kill people real quick and fast, you need anthrax. My God.
But they just start.
Don't ask me where I can get some.
It was absolutely ridiculous because they start trying to spread it around and it doesn't work. So it got to the point where just a bunch of them, they would go into grocery stores and they just start throwing it on all of the produce. And they would go into crowds and they just throw it out into the crowds.
What the fuck?
And it was this absolute insane fucking stuff. And of course, their cult leader's getting depressed, and he's like, "I want to kill myself." And like, I think one of the inner circle people they tried to assassinate was because the cult leader's like, "I want to die. I'm suicidal. I want to die." And some of them are like, "Well, if that's what you want, I'll help you. I'll give you a humane way to commit suicide or something." And then they're like, "We can't have that. Kill that man."
And they actually killed the guy that tried to help them.
No, that's the thing. Of all the assassination attempts they had, none of them went through. Nobody died.
It's this absolute cacophony of just horrible attempts that didn't work.
And sheer luck.
Yeah, sheer luck. Just
wow.
All of this stuff went down, and like if any of it worked, it would have been just crazy. Things would be so different, but through sheer luck and just drug-fueled incompetence,
yeah, I think that's the
through.
Key thing, because I have buddies up north, north of Korea. That I don't know. I think it would be a pretty big cult. 25 million people in a cult, right? Worshipping this one fucking family. It's almost as if they're not a communist, but a monarchy, because it's just family run. Family run enterprise at this point. Bad at making nukes, bad at making cars and weapons. But I don't know. I still think Mormonism is like there's one thing I hate the most about any type of religion or cult or whatever: hypocrisy. Mm-hmm. I think Mormons,
if you can't practice what you preach, then you shouldn't be following it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think Mormonism is probably the most hypocritical religion I've ever seen in the world so far. I'm not saying individual people are bad, because I've met some good people.
Oh yeah, there's always good ones in there,
but the religion itself, and for example, like the leaders of that religion, are known to be above the law, have their own bunkers inside of mountains because,
in case they need to get away.
There's actually it's literally, it's public, but it's not public, that they own a bunker on the side of a mountain that only the church can access. Mm-hmm. And who knows what the fuck is in there. I'm pretty sure tons of gold reserves and whatever, because the politicians in Europe, like fucking Mitt Romney, I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He was going for elections at some point. He's a diehard Mormon, and obviously everyone in Utah voted for him because he's a fucking Mormon. But imagine if he was a president, he'd be giving Utah benefits.
That's kind of the thing that I always get a problem about, because there's obvious separations between church and state and all that, but it gets to the point where it's like, we're going to put someone who is a part of the church of some kind or a cult into power, and then you're going to have a bunch of other people vote for him, not because he actually does something good for the people, but because you have a lot of members of a cult or a church, and they're going to put him into power.
Like if you look at Russia is a pretty good example, because they have, because the end of the fall or end of the Soviet Union and everything, religion is legalized once more, and because Eastern Orthodox is very popular in, Slavic countries.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have the church having a say in the government affairs, right? I'd say it's a good thing because Eastern Orthodox isn't much of a cult compared to Mormonism. Because, as far as I know, it doesn't behave like it doesn't, go into extremism by any means.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing that I mentioned before, where larger, more, well-recognized religions, the things you would actually call religions above a cult, they tone it down because they need to be acceptable to the world at large, whereas a cult is different. It's like... have you ever heard,
Texas. Yeah.
Have you ever heard an interview with ex-Scientologists?
No.
It is insane. The way they talk about, when you go in, you're, taught, never tell the truth, If anyone asks you about something, you lie, you deny, the truth will never come out, and everything is an act. You can never be straightforward with people. You always have to be coy at the least.
Yeah.
And it's this insane thing of, I don't know how people actually fall into this stuff. I don't know how people can go in, be told all this stuff, and think, yeah, this is all right.
Let me tell you, though, because that's another thing that I hate the most about cults, is because they appeal to people that don't really have their niche yet.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a group of people to rely on. I'm not saying that they're not smart. I'm just saying they didn't really have much
Everyone
people
has that
social
moment
around
of
them.
vulnerability.
I agree to a bigger extent. I'm technically Christian. I was baptized when I was born,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't go to church unless my parents.
You're not
force
really
me
a practicing Christian.
No, hell no. I've never prayed in 4 years because I wasn't forced to go to church by my mom on Christmas, but I dislike religion because it preys on desperate people. Religion tends to attract a lot of desperate people, and to an extent, I have seen it to a positive effect on people that are willing to make change, but usually it ends up with people that become reliant on religion to seek for an external I'm not going to say imaginary because I don't know if it exists, but
and we probably won't until we die either. So.
Let's call it non-physical entity kind of
unproven entity.
Yeah, unproven entity to beg for help or forgiveness or whatever.
And that's kind of and I can see some of the points for it because I can look and see if I were in a specific scenario or a situation, I can see this being really appealing. It's just from where I stand, I look at it and I do not see it, and I see more of the exploitative nature of it.
Yeah.
Religion, it
sells you a dream.
It's good for those that need it because religion is the sigh of the oppressed man. Religion only works for those that actually need it. But for, cults that are, really predatory and...
That are deliberately...
Yes.
Deliberately preying on the weak.
Those are the ones that I despise, because the way that, that my friend, or, I guess, associate now, because, I kind of left it bad because, before he was telling me about, all the stuff that they were doing, and he said, yeah, it was really cool,
What were they doing?
He didn't go too into detail, but he said they had it so that when I went, I was only set up with people my age and in small groups so that we could all get to know each other and only people his age.
What, is it sexual or what?
No,
it's just getting to know people because that's how you're socializing them.
Yeah, you're forcing people to socialize.
Because that's one of the big things. Whenever you enter a group, you're going to kind of be at odds if the people are different. It's like if
mob
you go...
mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like that thing where because if you bring a young person into a religion where a lot of the people are older people, you're not really going to relate to them. But if they're all people your age and you can all kind of relate on something, then you're going to be much more willing to do it. And that's one of the manipulation things.
And he was saying I know I'm getting into a cult, but I'm okay with it. I'm like, okay, just be careful. And then I messaged him yesterday, and I'm like, so how's the cult business? And he said, it's fine. I'm talking to the to some of the higher ups or whatever they're called now, and then he never messaged me after.
The clan leaders.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Klansmen.
And that's always the thing, right? Because people presume they know what they're doing. People presume they're on top of it and that they're not going to fall for some trick.
Yeah.
And
But that's
those are
how
the
they get
people
you.
that are some of the worst
That's how
for it,
cigarettes
though.
get you.
Because they say, oh yeah, they aren't going to get me, and if because the people that are running them, they've been trained for all that. It's all been done
They've
before.
experienced it.
They've
lived it.
They've seen skeptics before, and they're probably some of the easiest to lure in because they just saunter up to them and they say, "Oh, I see you. You're a thinking man. You're smart. We have a need for people like that," and that's how they rope you in. As soon as somebody comes up to you and says, "We have a need for people like you," they already have like a fucking leg over you.
If someone
Because
says that to me, I know they're fucked.
They're appealing to you. They know what they're doing. And that's what's so slimy about it. They're roping in vulnerable people.
That's why I just can't.
It's
deal
not
with
something
religion.
I can get behind.
Well, like I said, like personally, I can't deal with religion. So if let's say like if someone offered me to join, I'd obviously politely decline. And if it's a cult, I would say, no. Are you? Why? Yeah, get away from me.
Well, yeah, and
But
I
like
mean,
again, as long as it doesn't involve predatory means or physically harming or ruining a part of society. We live in a society.
We
Was kangs and shit. Like I don't have any issues with that. That's why I don't have any issues with moderate Islam or moderate Christianity, Catholicism,
if it's just
or anything
people
like
getting
that.
by.
if it's
that's
just
fine.
an ideology and a way people like to conduct themselves and a way they like to feel good about themselves and all that,
Like-
that's fine.
Just don't
That's
be a
fine.
piece
Like
of
here,
shit.
look, I
What?
think the
What
best
about Amish?
case.
Amish are all right because they exist in their own little bubble, and
Yeah.
they do permit you, because me and Eric were talking about this at one point. They actually permit you like a period of time where it's like go out into the world, do everything that we don't let you do, and decide if you want to stay with us or not.
And most of the time, they actually come back.
Actually realize how fucking fucked the world is, and they want to live their normal, simple life.
And then they just go kill themselves because they saw how fucking shit the world is. That's the best case scenario. Not saying that killing them is a good idea, but no.
I'm not saying it at all. I'm just saying I love the smell of burnt beard hair in the morning.
No, it's just I don't know. Like, I think obviously the biggest sector of religions, the ones that already exist, I think are the best because clearly they're moderate. They're not harming anyone. Like most of the Polish people I've met are diehard Catholics, but not once have I been offered to go to their church. Not once have they asserted their beliefs to me.
Mm-hmm.
When we want to talk about religion, we can talk about it civilized and debate about it, unlike some of the cults that or extremists that I have encountered.
There was a moment like a while ago. A friend of me and Eric's. I was talking to him, and I guess it just came up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I think it was Christian," and I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm a Christian." I'm like, I didn't expect that because like you seem like the very skeptical type, the type who is very willing to speak out against a lot of stuff. He's like, I mean, I'm not like some diehard Christian or anything, but I mean, yeah, I am a Christian. I'm like, okay.
That
Now,
sounds
let
a
me
lot
ask
like
this
someone we
question.
know.
I can't think of who that is.
Let me ask this question. What separates cults, religious-based cults, versus political-based cults? For example, you take Nazism, and that's a diehard cult in its own. Same with extreme communism, like Stalinism, or you can even take libertarianism to the extremes, because they, practically speaking, the ANCAPs, I call them, anarcho-capitalists,
yeah.
they have zero morals, as in, let's sell heroin to 4-year-olds, and let's harvest organs from people that are undesirable, quote-unquote, or...
That sounds like China.
Yeah, no, China
sounds more like...
if anything, China is the most ANCAP country I've ever seen in my entire life. Even more so than the initial stages of U.S. independence, because they were technically libertarian, and they were all about, freedom to the people and all that stuff, but they still had morals. Whereas China, they don't have religion. That's one thing I will give religion, that it sets some levels of morality. But because they don't have any religion, and they're starting to get into capitalism, where they're getting all this cash flow, and they don't give a shit about what's happening to other people, you have rich kids that are coming over here with daddy's credit card, that all that money came from factory workers that are literally killing themselves in the factories, making 5 cents an hour, right? So, like, what's the separation between political cults and ideological cults?
I feel, because I'm a little bit biased when it comes to the whole politics thing, simply because I'm not a very politically aligned person. I don't really know that much about politics, and I don't really care to vote either. But
good.
I believe that the separation between religion-based cults and political-based cults is simply the religion-based ones. They have something more to believe in.
I believe the religion-based ones. Now, it could be wrong or inaccurate because it's kind of a slapdash way of saying it because it's off the cuff. But I believe the religion-based ones are ones that'll sell you a lifestyle. Mm-hmm. They are selling you ideologies and beliefs about how you should live your life, how people should live their life, about morality, whereas political-based ones are more about policy and what is good for a country or a large group of people.
Well, you can
whereas religion is more about like finding yourself.
True, but you can also apply that to, like, for example, like Nazis are always a good example. Because they're always a good example of a political cult, because you look at
7 minutes of just religion. This is the religious
we'll move
episode.
on to something else soon.
We'll move on to the second topic.
We'll go back to funny fart topics.
Honestly, I would prefer that right now than this.
Oh my god.
Well, we have a good topic that you'll like.
Yeah, we'll move into simping and you.
What the fuck?
Simping and you.
Anyways, I think the difference is, just to wrap this up, I don't think there is much of a difference at all, really, realistically speaking, because, a political ideology can also sell you lifestyle and who to believe on. Like, for example, you got modern day Kim Jong-un, who is revered as a god.
He is our king.
He is our simp.
Not my king.
And you got my favorite example, Donald Trump and the boomers, that think that he is a literal Ronald Reagan, like, god of America or some shit like that.
Donald Trump's just a fucking meme.
He is.
Yeah, they did elect a meme. You know what? I can't even talk shit about the 2016 election. Like, I couldn't care less about whatever happens down there, simply because I'm Canadian. But still, I don't know how they let it come down to that. Hillary Clinton was the only person to be able to lose to Donald Trump.
There was a thing where Donald Trump actually almost lost, but he got one last vote of some place.
No. So what happened? It was like 50.1% versus 49.9%.
Yeah.
So the U.S. has something called the Electoral College, where it takes into account of the vote of the people and the vote of the government. So Donald Trump won the vote of the government, but people-wise, people that actually voted, he got more votes by like 100,000. Like, Hillary Clinton technically won the people's vote, but because a senator or whatever, like the Congress vote, is more important, he won technically. That's why people got outraged over that. Because technically, 50.1% is still bigger than 49.9, right? That's unfortunately how democracy works. Is, there's no compromise usually.
Even then, I'm pretty sure didn't they do like a recount and Trump still won?
Yeah.
But even
because all the people that were voting for Hillary got really salty and keep saying recount.
It was all those SJWs going, Ree!
It's all those simps and soy boys.
Fucking lib cucktards! Hello, gentlemen.
What do you mean? I can't wear my Punisher skull inside a kindergarten?
What do you mean I can't take my AR-15 into this children's establishment? I want it in the play place.
I want to go down the slide, Daddy!
What do you mean? My 1911s won through 2 world wars.
Okay, that's enough. Let's talk about simps.
Alright, so...
Sims.
Here's...
I just let go of Q's leash. She's off.
So here's my thought. Alright, gentlemen,
He's off like
let's
a
discuss.
dog chasing the hare.
Let's discuss this as gentlemen. So we've seen waves of simps come through.
We are a wave of Sims.
Not me. I like to respect women.
You're
with
a
my
closet
fists.
Sim.
No,
You
I like.
respect women, simp?
I respect women.
Look at women!
I only respect women with my fists. Oh. No, so we've been seeing a wave of simps recently in the latest 2 months of this shitty year, and I've started categorizing them from Gen 1 to Gen 3.
Who
knows how many?
Pokesims.
Exactly. So Gen 1 is, your usual 4 out of 10 neckbeards or no chin jimmies.
And men's with the tangalas on their face.
Orbiting around the 4 or 3 out of 10 fat chick. And then it evolved to Gen 2 simps. Kind of like Fallout 4, the Gen 1 synth and synth like Gen 2 synth.
Naturally in the institution.
So the Gen 2 simps that I've been seeing are the incels with colored hairs and wearing like next generation hipster clothing that are for queers only.
I apologize. I didn't intend for this to happen.
Hovering over 4 out of 10 girls with literal brooms on their head.
What?
Because they have like all these different colors and it literally looks like a broom on their fucking head.
They
Or
get
a
like
mop.
Johnny Test hair.
Or a mop.
Be like, has been hotel.
And then I'm just wondering, what in your guys' opinion, what do you think Gen 3 simps are gonna look like? Because we're going
Sissy
far.
femboys.
I think the pinnacle of simps today is going on Twitch and donating to half-naked chicks that are maybe 4 out of 10 and watching them sleep or do dumb shit. I think
They're
that's the
going
next
to
level.
be.
Just to have them say thanks or glance over at the chat.
They're going to be gingers who wear like hipster glasses, have scraggly beards, and probably have buck teeth.
I don't know. I think the next generation of simps or the next category of simps don't even go outside.
What if they're just Chads?
No.
That's what I was thinking. The next generation is a bunch of burly fucking
It's the
guys.
fucking Giga Chad sitting there. It's like, man, this girl's really cute when she sleeps. I'm gonna donate.
Morning, queen.
I'm not a simp. That man called me king on the internet.
Oh my god. Also, I kind of want to discuss later the overusage of the word wholesome and king. Because I feel it's getting too overboard, where it's just
You
like...
see,
Did I ever send you that picture of the guy that, like, he's awake at night and his hands are in his palms and, like, all the words are hovering around his head. It's like doggers or poggers and, like, simp, cuck, keck. And it's just all those words and he's just like...
chat?
I'm gonna... You know what? I mean, in the future, here's what I'm predicting, alright? So you're a dad. And you have a son in the hospital, and he only reacts to the words poggers.
I am instantly calling my fucking plug.
He's in a coma, but the only words he reacts to is poggers and keck. And
Every
like,
time you say
emojis.
poggers, he just fist bumps the air.
Just fucking keck W and shit like that. Yeah, he's instantly getting fucking unplugged.
He'll only wake up. It's like, it's time to wake up, king.
Pog chat.
Fucking, I actually like the whole like calling people king simply because I just see it in like stupid ironic ways, and I think it's funny.
No, I've been seeing it too much unironically. That's
A
the
sad
problem.
king, a sad king needs a popcorn refill in aisle 3.
Don't worry, Anon. Don't worry, Anon. I passed a singles tax check for you.
I just love it.
I wavered
ironically.
that out. Don't worry.
Nice cock, bro.
Did you see the one thing?
Nice
Have
balls,
you seen the
bro.
image of
Great
like
load.
in a school bathroom? Someone just put in front of the toilet or whatever. They put up a picture of like a Giga Chad standing there. It says, "Hey, bro, nice cock."
Actually, I've seen that, but it was
image,
Shadow from Sonic.
that was also a good one. 'Cause
You
that
know
was the
what?
OG.
Actually,
And the next image is just a teacher like standing at the front of the classroom, holding it up like, "Who did this?"
you know what I'm gonna do next? Now that I think about it, I'm gonna take a Sharpie. Next time I take a shit in the stalls in my school, I'm gonna write down on the door, be like,
Nice shit, bro.
"Wash penis, bucko."
Make sure you get under your foreskin.
Spectacular balls, king.
Wonderful shape, bulbous but not too over-encompassing.
Nice load, bro.
It's just gonna be those things where it says
Sweet
nice cock,
stream,
it's gonna
man.
trail off to different things.
Bro, your nut had a really nice spherical what do you
Just
call
the
those
perfect
fucking water
transparency.
like fucking
Bulbous.
drops?
Drops.
Yo, your cum had some nice looking drops.
Some nice smegulates.
Not a smeg in sight. Good job, King.
Enough penis testing. Now it's on for the taste test.
I sent you that one.
Babe, I'm sick of casual sex. We're going competitive.
Enough with the urethral injections. I want it straight to my balls.
I said, hey man, nice cock.
It's where a man gets cum shot and goes, ah!
Hey bro, you got a nice big cock there. You need a bipod? I got my 2 arms right here.
Babe, I think it's time we do the tic-tac test.
18 naked kings.
At Ram Castle. Or should it be Cram
Ram
Castle?
Emporium. 28 buff cool US Marines.
Pulling up in big black Ford Raptors ready to fuck Prince Harry.
In his king castle.
Alright,
More like his King Cavern.
that's enough. Alright.
Alright, what's the next topic? Fuck.
What is some cool shit, or no, not even cool. What is
Yeah, he
just,
didn't say cool last time.
what is just some stupid shit you want in your house that you know you don't need, but you really think would tie everything together?
A Nazi flag.
I'm sure it'd fit right next to your Confederate fursuit.
Next to my pink AR-15 with Minion stickers on it.
And dildo under barrel.
What do you mean? Don't you think the Russians are gonna run away when you shoot at them with a pink dildo?
I'd fucking run away.
I mean, there's a lot of ways to make your enemy go away, but when you say to Russians, which are very, very not gay, hey, big boy, I got a nice cock waiting for you, I'm pretty sure they'll be running real
Cocked
quick.
and
Just
loaded.
fucking slit your throat right
Oh,
there.
Nichan!
That's how you get them to run to you.
Okay, so just to set the bar, here's... What? What are you pointing at?
We got a comment!
Oh no. Who commented?
He's apparently a funny Canadian.
Oh, who fucking cares?
Oh. Canada
Actually, I
sucks.
shouldn't say. Thank you for commenting or even watching.
No, you should say Thank you for commenting, King. Now let me
Thanks
suck
for
your
the comment,
balls.
King.
Let's reply to his comment with that.
Now let me lick your urethra, King.
Okay, so here's what I would like. I would like a bust of my head in marble, and like I'll have a really shitty house, like just god awful, terrible. Like interior, I'm talking like doo-doo streaks all over the walls in the kitchen, not even in the bathroom, and like I'll have a bust of my head just in the middle of the living room. I want a big painting, not even picture. I want a big painting of everybody from the MD cast in suits looking like really angry off in the distance.
Put it right above a fireplace that you don't even use.
To make it look like I was somebody of like a good esteemed social status. And in my study, I want a bunch of bookcases, but I want them all lined with manga. And this is just some random shit that I want. This isn't even important. I'm only thinking of this now. I want a cabinet. You know how they have those cabinets that they have like all that expensive china and shit in there?
Yeah.
I want nothing but Solo cups and styrofoam plates in it. I want a plunger, but I want it to have a broom handle so I can use it as a spear.
Oh my god.
And I want one of those granny chairs to go up and down the stairs, but I want it to go super fast so I get shot out of it right at the end.
Like the
Alright,
you know what?
You
You know
just
what?
reminded me of something, though. The whole china cabinet. I have a china cabinet in my home. You want to know what's in it?
Food.
Old Star Trek energy drink cans.
That
Wow.
doesn't surprise me with your mom.
You know what? Now that I think about it, because you did your whole entire interior of your dream house.
Yeah. Oh, no furniture, by the way. I just want that.
Sleep on the floor.
So what I want for my ideal house is, you know those 1980s vaporwave style interiors and houses that are like tiles everywhere and
Make
it's
your
purple
eyes
and
bleed.
blue. Yeah, I want that entire interior going on, and I want like only like Macintosh computers back when I want all that vaporwave. I want that. I want my wall is gonna be white with that blue turquoise streak.
If I
on it.
ever break into your house, I'm not even going to steal anything. I'm just going to kill you.
And then, and then I want all my cups to be that paper cup that has that blue turquoise.
The fucking
purple.
old Taco Bell paper cup.
Yeah, I literally want my house to look like a Taco Bell interior from the 80s. And then here's the
Shit
kicker.
streaks and all.
Here's the kicker, eh? I want, because I collect flags, I want every single flag, including whatever Nazi one or Soviet one, to have that blue turquoise streak. So even if it's a Nazi flag and you got a big ass swastika in the middle, around the white circle with the swastika in it is just the blue and turquoise and purple streak. Even the Soviet Union flag, which has the yellow hammer and sickle on the side, it'll have like that turquoise like 80s vaporwave streak straight down the middle. and then I'll call it the Vape House.
Vape. Stop. No, I'm breaking into your house just to take a shit on the floor.
Even my bed, even my blanket,
We
even
fucking
my
on the vaporwave bed tonight.
even every furniture I have will be white and leather with that streak right through it. And then on the front door, it'll have, other than that streak, it'll have a big Subaru logo on it because
my
everyone will know I vaped then.
You'll just have one of those like water cooler things. Like the tank will just be full of lean though.
Yeah. Oh, and the best part is when you open my fridge, guess what's in it?
Xanax.
No.
Jars of piss.
No.
Say it.
Shitloads of Fiji water bottles.
Oh my god.
You're a fucking menace.
When you open my freezer,
It's frozen Fiji water.
no.
It's Frozone.
Hey, King, here's your ice.
Hey King, here's your super suit.
Now you said it wrong. Hey, Kang, here's
Where's
your super
my super suit? I need it.
Okay.
And in the freezer, it's gonna have color-dyed ice cubes that look exactly like the swimming pools that are like really turquoise-ish and like
the Miami Vice swimming pools.
Sure, literally just like 80s aesthetics, but overdoing that painting little line on those paper cups from Taco Bell. Even every flag, even the Russian one, I don't care. None of them are going to be in their original color because you can't tell if it's Russian or Lithuanian or whatever because they're all like the three tricolors, but they all have that streak through the middle and it's all white. It's like, is this the Russian flag or is this the German flag? I don't know.
It's the Taco Bell flag.
Oh, in the front lawn, I will have that Taco Bell sign that's at the top and it just spins slowly. It's that old Taco Bell sign that spins around. And people are going to be wondering, hey, is this a taco? No, it's the vape house.
I didn't touch on my front lawn. I want my front lawn to just be dirt. I don't want any grass, any weeds or anything. I just want fucking dirt.
And you'll call it the Coom House.
Yes, the Coom House.
The Coom Crib.
Everybody fucking J.O. on the bus. Hot glue the head.
Ooh, and I want a marble bust of Adolf Hitler right in the living room.
Jesus Christ.
We go hard.
Alright.
Statue of David. You know that one where he's like, I don't know, like with having a pose and he's naked and buff?
Yeah, like all of them.
Yeah.
Pose?
And then I actually want that one to have a cowboy hat. I want that. I want my Adolf Hitler bust on top of my fire, on top of like a heater, like those living room heater type things, the big boys. And then in the middle, the front entrance, and it's kind of like the lobby or the shoe, like where you put the shoes. I want a marble bust of Grant McDonald's buff, cool cowboy marine. And he'll have that stripe right through his gut, the Taco Bell stripe right through his gut.
All right, Kyle, what's your house?
All right, front lawn. It's just pink flamingos, just all of them, little flamingos, because you need those. We'll have like a few garden gnomes, but like classy garden gnomes. None of those novelty ones that are like shitting or something. Real garden gnomes, because we do it unironically, and that's ironic.
Oh, you know what you should do? You should get those big ones and hire some midgets. And dress them up as gnomes, and just to scare people, like just hire them.
That's what I do on Halloween.
But, you lull them into a full sense of hope.
But fucking.
You say trick inside. Or treat, and then all right, I'll do trick, and then I'll be like, look behind you, and there's just like a gang of gnomes with fucking chainsaws.
But fucking. On the inside, somewhere inside, I'm going to have one of those barbershop poles. You know, the ones that spin.
The twirly ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because those
Not
are cool.
A stripper
I
pole?
like them.
For the kids?
Make it a stripper pole.
No, that's in the Coom House.
Public access
Coom room.
The fucking ejaculatorium.
Ah.
But,
Castlevania.
Or, sorry, it's the masturbatorium.
Ah, yes.
But,
masturbatorium.
I'm gonna have a bunch of really silly looking lamps. Like tall lamps, short lamps. They're just, none of them are gonna be the same. None of them are gonna match. But they're all gonna be some kind of weird, freaky lamp. I'm gonna have some paintings up. I don't know what of. I'd probably get paintings of that one, I think it was a Russian artist who was like, his like art inspired all of like the metal covers.
Oh, I know that guy. Yeah.
He does like really fucked up stuff where you'll see like fleshy walls and shit. Like dilapidated corpses.
He was a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah.
So like he's got
what?
like.
What's the Holocaust?
It didn't happen. Don't worry about it. But
what do you mean 6 million people died?
6 gorillion.
I think that number's a little over.
Okay, Kyle, keep going.
But anyway, he all of his stuff like inspired like modern metal covers, the kind of like crazy shit they do. And he was also one of those guys who's like, art doesn't need meaning. The stuff I make does not have meaning.
And
I
like
just make it
all of
'cause
his
I want
paintings
to.
were like untitled as well.
Yeah, he didn't make titles because he's like, that just impacts what people think. I just want people to look at it.
What if he's just painting what's inside of his fleshlight.
That's what I do.
That's a lot of people.
I mean, I never said people.
There's a
you
lot
can't
of-
make fleshlights out of people.
There's a lot of cells in sperm, man.
But I have some paintings around.
6 gorillion to be exact.
I can't remember everything I told you when we were talking about this before. I'd have a bunch of manga and fucking titty figures or something like that. Anytime I see like a statue or a knickknack or something, I would probably take it and put it in my house somewhere. Like I don't know, maybe a black person shitting with their dick out.
Yes.
Or you know what? Have a statue of like a bathroom when people are pissing, but you gotta have the true literally crown king of pissing, where he puts his pants all the way down and just he's literally like a buff fucking cowboy pissing with like their entire pants down and going like this
with his arms to the side. I get one of those.
True Chad move.
Failing that, you got to get like one of those cliched like the cherubs pissing like a fountain. Got to get one of those. Other than that, just a bunch of really dumb centerpieces. That's kind
have
of
a
what
statue. Have like 400 instead of planting plants. Plant like marble penises on your lawn.
Solid.
I feel like you'd have some very moist penises by the end of like fucking girls' night at the strip club.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh yes. Also, because we didn't say it, the whole black man shitting and penis thing. I actually do have one of those now.
Yep.
From Eric.
We'll get into that in a second.
You know, I feel if you
Tyler,
look carefully, like the head, the hair looks like penises too, sticking out of his head.
This is just the cock man.
it's true. Tyler, what's in your house?
What's in your wallet?
I'm just so dumbfounded by your guys' houses. I can't come up with one.
God, I put you last for a reason.
You know, I changed my statement, not the vape house. I want Has-Been Hotel, okay? That's gonna be my house.
I want
Has-Been
to hire
Hotel.
women and paint them red.
I want.
And then white.
I want my demonic 7 foot. Well, no. I want my 12-foot tall demonic GF in my hotel right now.
I will fucking hire a woman with goat legs.
Tyler looks like he has something to say.
For my ideal house of just full of random shit, I would want a nice front lawn. But I want the one thing I saw a meme of, which is just a T-Rex was just a bunch of pink flamingos all over it.
Ooh, spicy.
As the fucking flamingos are attacking the T-Rex. That would just be the front lawn. Once you enter the house, it's a big open foyer, I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
When you look up, just a dildo chandelier.
Crystal?
No.
No. Okay, flesh one.
Cheap plastic.
That's another thing I want. I don't care what style of house I have. I want a chandelier in it. Just somewhere in the house.
I want a chandelier.
I want a spiral staircase.
Like the lighthouse.
Yeah, but not to a lighthouse.
I want. Okay, if I'm getting like a multi-storied. Oh, because I'm getting Has-Been Hotel apparently. I want the stairs to be that optical illusion where it keeps going on in itself. You know, it looks like it's like a cube and it has stairs on it. But once you get up, you can't go anywhere but down, and it's continuously repeating. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I'll call it the bone zone. Because you're gonna walk till you die.
Although, how unironically interesting would it be to have a home where rather than being wide or whatever, it's tall like a lighthouse, where it's just a spiral staircase in the center, and as you go up, there's just rooms off to the side at different points.
I think that would be cool.
actually,
it's like this vertical house, and I think that'd be actually pretty
Real
interesting,
talk.
although it'd be really good for cardio.
Yeah.
Real talk. Apparently, there was a house. The guy, you guys know Winchester, the name Winchester, right?
Yeah.
He's very famous for making guns in the past, in the 1800s. His wife was crazy and built a mansion that where some of the doors were sideways, some of the rooms were sideways, some
Made
of
a
the
whole
rooms.
movie around that.
Yeah.
That
The
idea,
Winchester
that thing.
Mansion.
Oh, you
there
mean
was a movie?
Wayside?
Yeah, but like,
That was just the kids' version.
but like, it's kind of cool because some of the doors literally lead to outside where you could literally fall to die. Fall and die. So I was like,
Always a good alternative.
There was like a horror, like a thriller kind of movie where the girl had to escape like some demonic ghost. I think it was the Winchester wife or some shit.
A house with a cock in its balls.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, like that'd be pretty cool to have as a house. I think that place is haunted apparently, and I don't really.
It's haunted by the spirits of fucking chaos.
Bro, like, I mean, if I have a haunted house, I'd be like, yo, bro, come over here. You want to have some beers?
At least you'd never be lonely. That's what if I were sitting there and I honest to God thought my house was haunted, I'd just be like trying to be the most hospitable, like fun guy to be around. Like, if you're gonna haunt me, I'll give you a fucking good time. We'll have some fucking booze.
I'll just be like, yo, just don't haunt me when I'm masturbating, okay?
Like, please don't look at my cock.
At least join in.
at least.
Then he
have
comes
a
on your
Texas
face.
toast together. Alright, hold on. I gotta go to the restroom.
It'll just be like something where you're trying to look for the porn, the ghost is like a true homie. He's like, okay, you watch this one.
He fucking directs you. It's like suddenly you lose control of your computer. It's like, oh, what's it doing? Then it directs you to like hotasianmilfs.com. You're like, hey.
Yeah. So, when I was in Cuba, I got some people some gifts. I got Q a Cuban fucking communist hat, and I got Tyler a
Fidel
cigar.
Castro.
Okay, Tyler. I got Tyler a cigar. I got and I got my favorite one. I got Kyle a ceramic statue of a black guy with his dick hanging out, taking a shit on a toilet. I saw that and I was like, ah, yes, that's Kyle.
You got a shit in Coombe?
And it's really sad because he told me about this like the day he got back, because we were talking online, and he's like, I'm really sorry, it fell over and the toilet has shattered.
The shitting statue has shat.
And of course he's like, I haven't looked at the damage yet, but it's probably fucked. And of course he looked at it later, he's like, don't worry, the dick is still intact.
That's all that matters.
So now I'm probably gonna get like some fucking Gorilla Glue and some shit, and I'm gonna see what I can do to put it back together.
Oh yeah, that's what I should talk about as well. Coming back from Cuba.
Oh this was an ordeal.
That was hellish. So it all starts back. It's still at the hotel with the really shitty internet. Me and Mitch we're in the lobby to do our like 24-hour check-in so that we can get seats together. So I'm like trying to set it up, and like we'd get to the email part of setting it up, and I'd put my email in, and then I would get kicked out. Mitch would get kicked out as well. Mitch didn't try as hard as I did because he said we're just gonna get boarding passes tomorrow anyways. It's fine. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. If we don't check in now, and if we can't check in now, we probably can't check in tomorrow while we're there. So I'm trying to make this work now so I can figure out how to make it work tomorrow. And he's like, okay, whatever. And 3 hours. I'm sitting in this lobby. I've gone back to buy like internet cards 3 times. And like I'm drunk as shit.
Every time. There were brief moments where he would message me online or message somewhere. He was blazed the entire time. Or he was just out of his mind, just fucking drunk off his ass, and he'd say something, and it was just like, good to see you're making the most of it.
And like there's like people coming. It was just a fever dream at that point. Like I don't even know what was happening. I was messaging my dad back and forth, like, okay, maybe if it's not working on our end, maybe you can try and make it work on yours. Like try and do some different stuff while I try and do some different stuff. And he's like, okay. But my dad's a champ. I fucking love the guy. But we're just trying to make it work. And like there's people coming in and off the bus, like from the the airport, and they're like, wow, Cuba's really nice, and they just see me sitting there in the lobby with a floral shirt, throwing my phone at the chair like, fuck.
That's the main attraction, Eric.
And I'm just walking, I'm just pacing around this fucking lobby, like just losing my mind trying to make this work. And like Mitch is like, he's FaceTiming his girlfriend, and he's like, yeah, Eric's pissed, like the man's obviously losing it, like he's saying like, Eric, what's wrong? And I'm just like cockeyed looking at him like and then I like, there's just this low pitch ping just slowly boiling up over the night. It's now 3:00 in the morning, and I just turn my phone off after I run out of internet, and I say, I'm going to bed. I just go to bed, and then I come back downstairs refreshed yet still angry. I buy another internet card, and then I start to talking with my dad again. He's like, yeah, the message, an email came in this morning saying that you guys were registered at 10:20, like when you first checked in. So that entire time was just of like trying to set the internet up. That was just nothing. That was for nothing. You guys are like already checked in. You have your seats. I printed off our boarding passes after dealing with the concierge, and they're the way that printing works there is they can't actually open links to the internet. They have to have everything sent to them directly. So I had to have the boarding pass turned into a JPEG and then sent directly to them, which is really fucking hard to do from my phone. So I had my dad like kind of helping me through that, where he'd send it to me and then I would send it to them. And anyway, we got that sorted out, and then I had a really nice relaxing last day of just, I sat in a hammock for 3 hours just reading a book while Mitch was still sleeping. I walked on the beach. It was a really pleasant last experience in Cuba. And then
the airport.
He
messaged me. He messaged our Discord server, and he's just sitting there like, I understand misery and pain. I see humans, but no humanity. It's like, wow.
Philosophical and shit.
Like it was a very eye-opening experience. Like, I swear to God. Everybody's like, oh yeah, getting through immigration's hard there, getting through check luggage is hard there, getting through like security's hard there. No, that was the easy part. That was a fucking easy part. Like, that was fine. We get to the waiting part. The place it's a small airport. We're like really jam-packed, packed in like sardines, and it's before that, I go to change back into my Canadian clothes. I get my jeans on, I get my sweater on, because I'm going to be coming back to the cold.
Yeah.
And while I'm there, another thing I should add, I don't think I said it in the last podcast, in some of the areas, the toiletry doesn't work that well, where like you can't really flush the toilets. So they have a lady there with a bucket of water, and then she goes over and she puts the water in, and then she flushes it. They don't have that at the airport. They have it so that the toilets are working fine. And I guess people just aren't used to that after so long of being there, where I'd go into the stall and I'd change, and then I look over at the garbage can, and people are just throwing their shit-covered toilet paper in the garbage can. But that's beside the point. I come out, and we're supposed to leave at 10, and we go to our terminal, and we're just kind of waiting there. And then some guy runs out and says, okay, everybody from this terminal over to that terminal. We get sent to another terminal. We wait there for maybe about a half hour, and then they say, okay, over to this terminal. That's not the one. We keep getting bumped back and forth to other terminals all across the airport. And then finally we get to this one, and people are just yelling out a couple's name, just screaming like it's over the PA. There's people running up and down the aisles, like trying to call for this couple. Like, just some fucking knuckle-dragging idiots that held up a plane for 2 hours. I don't know why they didn't just take off, but then eventually they come, and they're walking over, and they're like fist-bumping the air. They're like, woo! We made it! And everybody's just like, just pure agony and hatred for these people. Like, they're booing them. They're audibly booing them and hissing at them. I've never seen that before in a crowd.
My favorite story was the one of declaring your items.
Okay, let me get to that. So eventually, we were supposed to leave at 10. We left at maybe 12:30. we get on the plane. Everything's all hunky dory. I'm trying to sleep, like, and it's just not working. I don't sleep well in, like, if I'm in a moving vehicle. That's just me. But halfway through the flight, an old man collapses.
Oh.
He's okay. It's just now
okay.
we land and they're like, okay, everybody stay in your fucking seats. And they have to let the paramedics through. And that takes an hour itself. So everybody's just sitting there. We're in the Toronto airport. And the paramedics come. They're just kind of talking to people. They take the guy off. And then we grab our luggage and then we leave. But before that, we had to fill out a little form saying what we declared. It is 4 o'clock in the morning. I haven't slept since 6 the day before. And I fill it out. I hold on to it. And then we get off the plane. We go into the place where you declare all your stuff. And you're welcome back to Canada. Mitch goes through all fine. And then I get hauled over to the other guy where I have to actually talk to someone. Everything else is just done through a terminal. And he says, so what exactly did you bring back? And I said, oh, I just brought back some cigars, some hats from my friends, a statue. Other than that, just my clothes and maybe some lip balm and like some aloe vera and shit if I got a sunburn. And he said, okay. You checked yes for everything you shouldn't.
Because it was, as he told, it was just like a bunch of check boxes, like, are you bringing back these kind of things or these kind of things?
Bomb gun.
Yeah,
it was like
yes to every single one.
Like you got cocaine.
I brought nuclear weapons.
You have cocaine. You have oranges and shit. You got
Coming
like
back from fucking Cuba, of course.
you got guns. You got like illegal narcotics. All that. I checked yes for all of that because I got the lanes mixed up because I was half asleep when I did it.
Jesus Christ.
And he's like, okay, I understand. You can go through, bud. And I was like, thank you. I'm so sorry. And he's like, oh, it's fine. With these red-eye flights, it happens more often than you'd think. And like I go through. And I'm like, yeah, that's funny. But then I was like, in the back of my head, if that guy wasn't so chill, I would probably be getting tackled right now.
Go to the list and just stared at Eric like,
Oh my god.
Oh shit!
This dude.
You just see like an entire bomb squad like slowly approaching his bags.
It's like,
So
hey,
what exactly are you bringing back to Canada? I got black, I got white. What you want? I know I'm about to blow. Whoa.
Not a blow.
That's just the activation.
Oh, that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome.
My god, it was just utter chaos.
And he still hasn't slept since.
Oh yeah, I got so jet lagged, by the way. No, I can't even say jet lagged. Cuba has the same time as Canada. Like if it's 12 o'clock here, it's 12 o'clock there.
Yeah, we're at the same lateral.
I could not go to sleep unless I had 30 pina coladas in my system at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's the only way I could sleep.
Sleeping in a hammock.
Turns out that's the only way I can sleep back in Canada as well. Because I haven't slept since Cuba.
Wow! And it's been a week.
It has.
That must have been rough.
Oh, it's fucking horrible. But I'm here. I'm existing.
You're an exister now. You're a doomer. Ever since you've been to Cuba. How did it feel to be rich compared to everyone else there?
Very strange.
Actually, did you see a lot of Russians there?
Actually, I saw hardly any Russians. It was more French people.
Why French?
Well, probably because of Quebec. The resort that we went to was mainly Canadians. I didn't really meet anybody not Canadian other than like one really chill German dude.
Oh, I guess it's probably because like different tourist organizations deal with different type of groups, probably. Because when my buddy went, he met a lot of Russians. Like a lot of them. Like literally, like they were like the only English-speaking people out of all of them. And some Russians could speak a little bit. So I was like thinking, oh, wow, Cuba is like Mexican Russia. Mexican Soviet Union.
Tyler, what are we at?
An hour and 20.
Okay, we can keep going.
All right. What's another topic?
Oh yes, in the last podcast, Mitch is on a crusade to start beef with people on the podcast. So Tyler, he called you a bitch.
What's that gonna do?
I don't know. And he called you a commie fucker.
I mean, I like to fuck communists, so.
This is working well.
The only one that
really
he's
well.
actually insulted was Sam, and Sam doesn't even do anything about it because he's too pure. I love Sam.
What did he call Sammy?
He called him a Phasian.
What's a Phasian?
A fake Asian.
Yeah, he is.
God damn it.
Yeah,
Why is everybody so mean to Sam?
Because he's pure.
No, it's not being mean. We're calling it domesticated bullying.
Domesticated bullying.
It's fine because we're all friends.
Yeah, it's exactly. Commie fucker, huh?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd fuck a commie.
there's pretty hot communists if you look in those propaganda posters.
I think he meant it in the derogatory form of you're just a communist fucker. But not, you don't fuck communists. You're a communist and you're also a fucker.
You're a communist, fucker.
You're a fucking commie.
Yeah, comma.
I don't know. Do you think I'm a communist if I want to buy Nazi flags and put them in my room?
I think you're just on a higher tier of shit posting.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Here's
I mean, I always jokingly say, my uncle Adolf gave me a good lesson, and I always say shit like, I love the person who killed Adolf Hitler.
I mean, you want to buy a Nazi flag, that's one thing, but you also greet people in Arabic, so...
Don't you know? A lot of Arabs actually love Hitler because they hate the Jews.
what the fuck?
No, seriously. Saddam Hussein, his idol was number 1 Stalin, and the number 2 idol... No, number 1 is this Egyptian guy named Nasser, but number 2 is Stalin, and his number 3 favorite is Adolf Hitler.
Damn.
Yeah, no. That's because they hate the Jews. Because, you know,
I mean, fair enough, you know.
Well, if you think about it, if you know any historical context of Middle
That's enough.
despite making up...
Alright, what's your favorite DLC that was added to a game?
Claptastic Voyage Borderlands, the pre-sequel.
And why?
Because it fleshes out the story of Handsome Jack, and it actually goes into why Claptrap in that game is Claptrap, and how his background story. We all know him as like the annoying R2-D2, pretty much. The really hyper annoying Jar Jar Binks R2-D2 of the Borderlands world.
Jar Jar D2, if you will.
Yeah. Jar Jar 2.
Why do people hate my boy Jar Jar so much?
Because he's a fucking shithead.
He's literally like single-digit IQ.
But
And
that's
I
what
actually
makes
know a
him good.
person. Oh my god, I'm gonna tell that to my buddies in school.
Jar
You
Jar
know, like
true
a
Sith
fucking
Lord.
retard in our class. That's literally
off.
Jar Jar Binks. But, anyways, he doesn't talk like that, unfortunately. That would be killer. But it
What if
fleshes
he's
out
just
the
being
most annoying
super
character,
ironic?
and actually gives it a sad background story. But you can also laugh along with it. And because I hated that robot so much, because I hated Claptrap so much, I was actually, by the end of it, I was actually like laughing with Handsome Jack when he was killing everyone except the main Claptrap of Borderlands 2. Because it pretty much like shuts down the entire Claptrap series robots except that one dude, except that one Claptrap. Also, close one. Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep on Borderlands 2 is also number 1 as well.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun and a lot of feels by the end of it. Like, it
I would
turns a
have to
fun
say-
DLC into like a sad kind of story at the end of it.
The one that instantly popped into my head, there's 2. They're both for Skyrim.
I had a feeling it was going to be one of Skyrim ones.
It was Dawn Guard and Heartfire.
Hearthfire.
That one.
You see,
My
it's Dawn...
Hearthfire.
I'm the guy who I loved. I had the one spot by Falkreath. I always loved building there.
I
would
admit
put-
Hearthfire's home building stuff was pretty cozy. I just think it should have been like a very cheap thing, if not just an addition they made to the game.
Yeah, I understand that, but at the same time, like it added a few things that I liked. I like those kids that run around the cities like, oh, no one fucking loves me. Oh, you're my son now.
I did think that one was good.
It was very wholesome thing.
Is that why there's the whole... I mean, I didn't play Skyrim that much. I only played it for a couple hours, actually. Is that why people hate kids so much in that game?
They hate kids because they act like shitheads and you can't kill them.
Yeah, because there's... Well, I installed a Kill Children mod in Fallout 4, so...
Ah, a true Chad, I see.
Yeah.
The reason why I like the Dawn Guard one, because it really... Obviously, the Dawn Guard's all around vampires and shit. You become a vampire hunter, or you can join the vampire clan. It actually gave me a reason to start using the werewolf form more. Because I was a very big fan of Van Helsing, and like the movie with Hugh Jackman. So I was like, my whole goal was to recreate that with the main vampire boss. I beat his ass.
I really did like Dawn Guard for that stuff. I really liked how it brought in the Vampire Lord stuff, the extra maps. It gave this more stuff to it. I thought that was really cool, and certainly something that Skyrim needed.
Brought the best waifu ever.
Fucking the Dragonborn DLC, though, for Skyrim was also pretty good. It was kind of at the end of Skyrim's life cycle, generally speaking, so I never played it very much. But I always did like how it brought you to, like, I think it was the Morrowind.
Yeah, Morrowind.
It brought you to Morrowind, which was an interesting way to bring it back, which had a lot of interesting stuff in it of itself, and I liked the, like, weird semi-Lovecraftian stuff that it included in it, and as well as the entire, like, spirit realm you were in. I thought that was a really good one for Skyrim.
I very much love the Dragonborn DLC.
Mm-hmm.
I love how... Do you know how in Skyrim you can basically do any mission at any point in time?
Yeah.
This one actually severely punished you if you went in early. So this is the kind of DLC you actually need to prepare yourself for.
It was one of those things that's supposed to add more on to your late game.
Yeah.
One of those ones where you can go in with, like, your highest level save and be like, this is actually something worth doing.
I mean, I wouldn't know because the last thing I remember doing in Skyrim was rideable chickens mod and upscaling them to 100. So I'm just riding a chicken that's the size of a town down the fucking. It's like see Thomas the Tank Engine Dragon just flying over. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Like it changes the bow to a fucking AK-47.
There are a lot of DLCs that I thought were really good. Talking about Skyrim reminded me of the Shivering Isles from Oblivion, which was a really good DLC. Because Oblivion was a really good game, although it's very dated now. Shivering Isles was where you go to the realm of Sheogorath, the Daedric Prince of Madness, so you know it's gonna be fucking great. Yeah.
See, I love the video games that age really well. Obviously, I'm biased. I'll say Borderlands 2 because that comedic graphic, like, immediately just comes to mind, and I'm like, even though that's 8 years now, 8 years.
Yeah, I was saying, out of all the Borderlands games that you can play, like, say, 20 years down the line, number 2 is probably the one you can play the most.
Number 2, pre-sequel, it aged so well that, you know, technically, it's really old school stuff, but it still looks good. What's that rollerblading game that's
Jet
like...
Set Radio?
Yeah, like even that one, right? It's probably like 12 years old for that
Oh
thing.
yeah, that one's real
and
old,
like
but
it still holds that aesthetics and gameplay
Jet
pretty
Set
well.
Radio is like fucking Dreamcast ages, and that's early 2000s.
It's that
But,
fucking old. But like, yeah, it's like usually you would never think like the modern day AAA games would age very well. Like look at Call of Duty, it's one and done. You play it for 1 year and then they release a new one and you're done with it.
And then you move on.
Same with like Battlefield series, except number 4 and 3.
But I'm the kind of guy that can go back and when it comes to the Call of Duty games, I love the story. Like I love playing the campaign first. That's what I always do it. But I can go back to Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 1.
Yeah.
Even
Just for
fucking
story,
World
that's
at
fine.
War.
But like no one goes back for like multiplayer.
Oh
or
fuck
anything.
no.
Like
World
another.
at War had a really good story. I liked World at
Yeah,
War.
like I love that end moment where you plant that Soviet flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like fucking
feel like a
bleeding out,
badass.
and you're just placing the flag like fuck you.
Like another one that's aged pretty well, I'd say, is not Call of Duty, Star Wars Battlefront 2 original.
Yeah,
I
the
still
OG
remember.
Battlefront 2.
I still remember
the OG
to this
that came
day.
with fucking Tetris, because you still play Tetris with it.
I do not, unfortunately, because I got it on the PS2.
Oh,
And I remember split screen play with my buddy conquering the galaxy as the Empire.
fucking going through. So you unlock the hero, and you're just going
Like
through,
my buddy's
cutting people up.
Darth Vader, and I'm riding in the AT-AT on Hoth. And it's
The
just the best
one
feeling when
thing-
I give him like support while he's cutting down rebels.
I spent so long on that Hoth map, either fighting Wampas or trying to figure out how to use the ships to like wrap around the AT-ATs.
That was a lot of fun.
Other than that, I went to Jabba's palace because I always remember the torture room that you spawn in, and there's just this one robot on like a fucking like the rack.
Yeah.
And he's just going, "Wow!"
What about the fucking one map where it's like a desert kind of thing and it has like the giant ship in the middle?
Tatooine.
It was
Yeah.
always your goal to fucking climb that shit and get to the top and have like a
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
And it had
battle
that
royale.
one.
I
That
had
one
the Dark
had the
Trooper
hero
with that.
mode. That one had the fucking hero
So you
mode
only
where
play
everyone
just
only
Jedi.
plays as Jedi or like Boba Fett or some shit.
Yeah, so I would-
remember playing. I would always want to be either the Emperor because you just fucking
Zap.
lightning people, or
I
I'd
was-
play fucking
yes.
General Grievous. You just
I
walk
was-
around like fuck shit up.
Always General Grievous. That's
He was the only one that
Okay.
did.
Permit me for saying this word. All right. The snake eating beans. Zap.
You just fucking you'd leap over the houses and be like die.
It was actually when I did that. I was only playing single player because LAN didn't really. I didn't know much about LAN, but
Yeah.
I was always cheesing the game, playing as Boba Fett on top of the Millennium Falcon, and no one could get to me.
No one
except
can reach
I could just shoot everyone and just be fine. So
Um,
I had like a kill death of like 34 to nothing. These
But
heroes are still hard to kill.
To get on the original topic, it's hard to think of a DLC that's one of my favorites.
You have
but
to. I think you have to
one-
state the game. Like you have to state the game and like why that game is so good, and then the DLC. Why
Yeah,
it
but
I
expands.
got
the
a
thing is,
topic after this.
I can't. It's hard to think of them because there's so many, and some of them are
yeah.
just integral to games. But the one that jumps into my mind is the old Hunters for Bloodborne, because I really like Dark Souls
Did
and the
we
Dark
play
Souls
that?
style. Yes, you were bad at it.
Nigga, I haven't played the game in like fucking 3 years. Give me a fucking break.
But-
Yes, you are
But
bad at it.
You see, I love the Dark Souls formula. Bloodborne was everything I wanted. It was this dark, gothic, Victorian, like, monster mashup that was intent on, like, being macabre, gothic, like fucking werewolves and fucking tentacle monsters and shit. It was amazing. The only problem I had with it was that it was lacking in content. It had like, I think before the DLC, it had a max of like 14 weapons. And there was only so much you could do for customization, and there were some key things that were kind of missing. The DLC comes out. It adds in new maps, new monsters, new stuff, and new weapons. And it also included more stuff that I always wanted in the game that actually makes you like transform into non-human states. Like, one of my favorite things from that DLC was the Milkweed rune with the Cost Parasite, where instead of using a normal weapon, you grow tentacles and you slap people with them. And it was amazing. It basically took a game that I already really liked and more or less fixed some of the biggest problems I had with it, and then added in more stuff that was just great.
Weren't one of the weapons like the amygdala arm?
Yeah, the amygdala arm, because there's these monsters called amygdalas, and they've got big fucking weird arms. One of the weapons you get is just the bones of one, and it's either a massive club that you thwack people with, or you extend it and the joints actually move and it whips people.
Oh,
It was one of those really creative ones that you wouldn't see in the base game.
Because I think in one of the amygdala fights, he does rip off his own arms and
He rips off both. He has like 6 arms. In like the third phase of the boss fight, he rips off 2 of his arms and beats you with them for
So
extended
people are probably
range.
curious, like, what if I had that?
What if I could do that? But yeah, it's one of those ones where it's like, if you play... Here's the thing. If you have a PS4, you should play Bloodborne, because I think Bloodborne is an amazing game. If you play Bloodborne, I think you need the Old Hunters DLC, because it just adds so much good stuff.
And especially, like, if you're a big fan of the Soul series, I think, or you want to get into the Soul series, I think Bloodborne is a good way to start.
Bloodborne is a fun way to do it, although it might be hard to go back to like an older entry in the series. But it also added other stuff like, because it's in the Dark Souls formula, so you have like builds based on your stats. One thing the base game was missing was certain builds. Like if you went a Blood Tinge build, that there was like one weapon you could use, and then other than that, it's guns.
Or whatever.
Yeah. But in the DLC, they add more weapons that are designed to allow for more builds. They even added in like because usually your sidearm it's either a torch or a gun used for parrying. In the DLC, they specifically added in a sidearm weapon that's just for fucking punching people.
Yeah.
And like even if it's not like crazy, it still was something new within the formula that allowed for something unique to do, and it's something I really appreciated.
But one thing I also loved about Bloodborne is it didn't really punish you for building an overall status kind of deal. Where, like, say you want to keep, like, a 15 strength, 15...
Keeping it general. The quality build.
It didn't really punish you for doing that. Because you still had basic access to all the weapons in the game.
Yeah, I felt it was very accessible as far as stats go.
My favorite DLC is actually a fairly recent one.
Oh.
I really like Splatoon. Splatoon.
Ooh, I should have seen this one coming.
I was legit just about to say it's going to be something from Splatoon.
So, for me, if you're buying Splatoon, you're probably buying it for the online. Not porn. Porn doesn't come with Splatoon.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet.
Mods.
But I bought Splatoon 2 because I just really liked the first game, despite not playing it. I thought that it was actually a very unique and interesting idea.
It still is. Like, unironically, I think Splatoon is one of the best new IPs. I mean, there's not a lot of new IPs from Nintendo, but I think it's a really good IP from Nintendo.
Where, like, it turns just a basic shooter into something more. And I really like that because I don't have time to really just sit down and play these massive online games. Like even sitting down and playing League for just a half hour straight, that's sometimes a bit of a stretch.
So one
Yeah.
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 Where like
Imagine playing League in 2020.
Yeah.
Right?
But I really liked the Octo expansion for Splatoon because the story for Splatoon, like the base story, it's really small, it's really easy, you can breeze through it in like a few hours. But the Octo expansion, it offers a challenge. Like some of the levels are actually like hard for a kid's game.
It
like,
adds
it's
a
fucking
different
hard.
because the Splatoon main campaign is fairly like standard. You shoot through the enemies, you get through basic environmental hazards, you reach the end of the stage. The Octo expansion added in like alternative ways to complete a mission. Like sometimes it would give you a selection of like weapons or whatever, then it'd plop you in the middle of an arena with minimal cover and be like, you're gonna fight an army, survive. But then suddenly it'd throw a thing at you, it's like, you need to get this 8-ball to the end of a stage. And there's gonna be forces acting against it, you gotta get it through. It's kind of like a puzzle thing.
I find it hilarious how games that are aimed at children, so let's just say 15 and under, are most enjoyed by people in their 20s to 30s. Like, look at Pokemon.
I think because honestly, when you're an adult, you get more enjoyment of it than a kid.
Well, that too, but honestly,
I think it's also nostalgia targeting.
Oh yeah,
perhaps.
Like Pokemon, like is a great example. I literally bought a 2DS just because I had nostalgia attack, and I haven't played it in a year.
I will admit to that one.
I'll have nostalgia.
I feel that some of the reason I like Splatoon as a 20-year-old, 21-year-old is because I actually like appreciate the design that goes into it and the creative like take on it, because there's a lot of stuff I've seen before. I've played a lot of COD in my day. It's interesting to see like These are just they're squid people. They're covering some land. You got silly little takes on weaponry that I think is really clever and cute. I like, because when I was playing it with him, the weapon I use is the umbrella, where it's basically a riot shield and a shotgun. And so I'm sitting there like, I am the fucking riot squad, and I thought that was a really fun little idea. And it's one of those. It's just charming. It's nice.
I think it's a like different mindset you can put towards
the reason that I like the Octo expansion the most as well is I think I only paid like maybe $20 for it too, and like the story for it's like way better than the original story. Like you get a big ass bang for your buck. Like it's like
that's what I like the most.
It's 3 times as long as the original story if you play through all of it. Like you can go through a certain amount of it and say, okay, I'm done, and then you can go to the boss and then the final boss, which was massive. Like it was fucking cool and shit.
And then even after that, there's a secret, like super secret, extra powered up version of the final boss if you really want to fucking beat a wall.
Like it was a challenge.
Like for me, this is more of a category. Like, obviously, when we're talking, like, favorite DLCs, it's not going to come out of a multiplayer game, realistically speaking, because it's mostly adding, like, new tools or equipment or whatever.
And that's what came out of Splatoon as well. It was a lot of cool gear.
Yeah, like, that, I don't have an issue with that, but, like, my gold standard, because I played Borderlands for so long, and I've been playing it for 6 years, ever since I could run Borderlands 2 on my shitter box back home, I think the gold standard is Borderlands DLC, Borderlands 2, for example, and pre-sequel, costed $10. Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep costed $10. And you get more than, if you take it nice and slow and explore everything, including the lore, you get easily 12 hours of content out of it with new DLC guns and, you know, the aesthetics of farming or, you know, farming equipment there. Or guns. If you take it fast, you're still going to take about 4 hours to complete it. Like, I think that's the gold standard. And my favorite type of DLC is it adds on to the lore. But more specifically, I love it when it adds on lore to, like, a main story villain. Like, for example, right? Pre-sequel DLC kind of covered Handsome Jack, but it also covered a lot of the background story for some other, like it's a well-known character, but you don't know any of the backstory for it, right? It's kind of like the Star Wars syndrome these days with like trying to cover as much possible background, and like Solo.
It kind of goes back to both what I chose and what Eric chose. I feel the thing that makes a DLC stand out is when it takes something that the original game was lacking or could have improved, and it does it. Octo expansion, because multiplayer Splatoon, it's good, it's fine. Single player was lacking. Octo expansion, better single player. With fucking Bloodborne, it was lacking in some variety and some length. Old Hunters, more variety and length. And it adds on to this shit. And you could even say for the Skyrim thing, like the fucking Dawn Guard, because they had some stuff like the werewolf transformations. But let's be honest, you got it and you forgot about it because it didn't really matter. But then they add this massive quest line of that shit, and it brings new relevance to it. And I feel that's what makes a DLC good and stand out.
Like, for example, current AAA game, I played Borderlands 3, obviously. Main story, trash. Literally, a 12-year-old wrote it and put themselves in as a main character. It has a very severe case of, what is it, like writer's favorite or author's favorite? Kind of
like the Mary Sue characters?
Yeah. There's this little kid in there, and she's really annoying, and she thinks she's the boss or whatever. The newest DLC that came out, called the Handsome Jackpot or something, I can't remember. No, that's the place that you go to. It ties in lore of Handsome Jack, the main villain of Borderlands 2's casino, and trying to take it over. And what's happened to that casino, the space casino, in like 5 years of being abandoned. It's a whole new place, whole new lore. Much toned down characters, so they're new, they're interesting, and they don't overdo the cringy stuff like the main characters did in the main story. And obviously more loot, more guns, whatever, right? I think that one was $15 because, you know, the new standard is 15 instead of 10. But I still think that story, that 3-hour long story, is better than the entire main story 100 times because it's just, I don't know, it filled the gap. Like it's funny because there was no main villain because the main villain is dead from game number 2, but it's still focusing on the story and how, him in the past and stuff like that. Like that's the stuff I look for. Like I want some good narratives. I want some good stories.
You felt like they learned from the mistakes of writing that they had before.
Yeah, like for example, like Borderlands 2, they try to include the main character, the player, as someone that makes a difference in the story.
150.
But number 3, they completely exclude you.
Tyler, what's your topic, and then we're gonna end it.
No, I got something I want to talk about Borderlands 3, then we can end it.
Okay.
I played Borderlands 3. My main issue with it is you can't play it by yourself. I had troubles just sitting there playing it because I felt way too fucking slow. Your guns were way too weak. Because I would sit there and the one boss where it's like the giant overgrown machine thing?
Yep. That one's easy. That was the easiest one.
I know, but I was sitting there for like an hour.
If you have good crit damage, you can kill it and literally like... I was doing legendary farming there, and literally the TTK for me on that thing was 3 seconds flat.
But when you're going through it the first time, and the guns they give... That's another thing.
Yeah, true.
The guns, I hate all the guns. The only weapons I ever used were Jacob or Hyperion. Or any other gun was, Jacob and Dull. Any other gun? Any other kind of gun? Trash. Didn't like it at all.
Yeah, for me, I really think, unfortunately, some of the, it's another thing, right? A lot of the companies, like you take Skyrim, right? Made by Obsidian, right?
Bethesda.
Obsidian
was like New Vegas.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking Fallout for some reason. You have Bethesda, who made really good games in the past, but they shit themselves now. Same with Gearbox. Borderlands 2 was fine until you got to like the end game, where you're level 72, OP8, and you need these select guns to be competitive there.
Yeah.
But Borderlands 3, I don't know why they designed it, and they overscaled balances so much in some regards. So it's, unless you were like 5 levels over what you're supposed to be to beat that boss with that specific gear, you're not doing it. The Lyuda, you know that one? The legendary Filatov sniper?
I think so.
Fully auto sniper that splits 3 bullets.
Yeah.
That's how I got that TTK down to 3 seconds flat.
It's like your first run through, it's nearly impossible unless you got someone who's beat the game 5-6 times helping you. Even then, your bosses are still technically hard for
Honestly, that's why I stopped playing the first one.
It is very sad. The only choice the youth have these days is to masturbate until the point of ultimate climax resulting in death. Thank you for coming to the MD cast.
We're off to masturbate and climax into the point of death.
We're going to play Texas Toast real quick when you guys are done.
Also, we never explained what we were drinking. It's moonshine. Have a good night, people.